Okay, folks, moving on to 7.4, number 198. They use the letter D. I'm going to switch it to X. Okay, so notice in 7.3 we didn't, in the previous sections we didn't have equal signs. Okay, so there's two parts going on here. The first thing we need to do, this one's a little weird at first, but in the very beginning we should probably talk about something called domain. Domain is what, in this case x, what variable, what x values are going to mess things up. You're not allowed to divide by 0. So right here, let's just say the domain is make sure x does not equal 0. So that's the domain. Domain's kind of we sometimes answer it sort of in a weird way. Not what values can we do. It's easier to sometimes just say what values can we not use. So what values of x would mess it up? What values of x would cause a divide by 0 situation? Oh, if x is 0, that'd be divide by 0. So let's not divide by 0. So let's say x does not equal 0. Okay, and then we put that on the back burner. Okay, so now let's get a common denominator, 3x9. So it seems to me that the common denominator would be, in terms of 3's and 9's, 9 is the smallest number they all go into, and everyone needs an x. So let's see if this makes sense. The common denominator is going to be 9x. So common denominator 9x. Okay, how do I get a 9x here? I need to multiply by a 3x. So multiply by a 3x. This guy needs to be multiplied by a 9. So multiply by 9 over 9. And this guy needs to be multiplied by an x. I'm teaching it a little bit differently than the book, I think. But notice the bottom here we have 3 times 3x is 9x. That's a 9x. That's a 9x. Once the bottoms are all the same, gone. Now let's clean up what we have left. 18x minus 18 equals 4x. Oh, easy peasy. So bring the 18 over. Not really showing my steps. Subtract 4x. Divide both sides by 14. Divide by 14. And we get x equals 18 over 4. Reduce. 9 goes into, no, 2 goes in. 9/7. Okay. Let us try 202. Probably got some room if I turn it over. 202. They use the letter N. I could use N. I prefer X, but whatever. N equals 21 over N squared. Step number 1. Oh, go back in time. So you get your answer of 9/7. And you say, oh, is that answer okay? And the domain says, yeah, anything's cool as long as it's not 0. Okay, so here's my answer, 9/7. So it's possible if your answer was 0, and then you go, oh, but my domain says make sure x is never 0, then you'd sort of toss that answer. We'll see some of those in a minute, I'm sure. Confusing right now? I know, just go along with it. Okay, 1 plus 4 over n equals 21 over n squared. So the domain, I'm going to put this over 1 so everyone's a fraction. These denominators are pretty simple, so 0 would mess this up and 0 would mess this up. So the domain, let's say that make sure n does not equal 0. Okay, common denominator. I see a 1, I see an n squared, so the common denominator is n squared. So this guy needs an n squared. So multiply by n squared over n squared. This guy needs an n, so multiply by n, and this guy's good to go. So the bottom, if I put it in parentheses, looks prettier. So n squared, bottom, n squared, n squared. Bottoms are all the same. What's left over? N squared plus 4n equals 21. How do we solve this? We need to set it equal to 0. N squared plus 4n minus 21 equals 0. Factor this using x method or guess and check. And 3 times 7 is 21. They have a difference of that. Signs are different. The bigger guy is positive. Plus 7 minus 3. Double check. Negative 21. Combine them. Positive 4. And if you just look at these, since it's just like n plus 7 and n minus 3, it should be easy. So n is just negative 7 or positive 3. And double check the domain. So these answers are cool. Woohoo! Okay, moving on to 208. 208. 208. R 208. 3 3 over x plus 4 plus 7 over x minus 4, leaving me some room, equals 8 over x squared minus 16. First thing we should do is factor that bottom, which is x plus 4 and x minus 4. Difference of squares factors into conjugates. And then off to the side, let's talk about domain. What would mess this up? You're not allowed to divide by 0. So what would mess this up and create a 0 if x was negative 4? Okay, so let's make sure x is not negative 4. And what would mess this up? If x was positive 4, that would create a 0. We don't want to divide by 0, so let's say x does not equal 4 either. And you see how each factored piece says the same thing. Make sure x is not negative 4, make sure x is not positive 4. Okay, we already said that. So here's my domain off to the side. So the common denominator, I see an x plus 4 and x minus 4, and I see x plus 4 times x minus 4. So the common denominator is just x plus 4 times x minus 4. So this guy needs an x minus 4, and this guy needs an x plus 4. Multiply top and bottom by the same. And this one has the correct denominator, so we're good to go. Are the denominators all the same? Yes. Cool. What's left over? 3x minus 4 plus 7x plus 4 equals 8. 3x minus 12 plus 7x plus 28 equals 8. X stuff, X stuff. I'm going to bring all the number stuff on the right. Can I do that in my head? Probably not. Okay, 28 minus 12. No, that's 16. Equals 8. Okay, subtract 16, subtract 16. 10x equals negative 8. Divide by 10, divide by 10. So x is, reduce that, negative 4/5. Is that answer okay? Check your domain. Domain says as long as x is not negative 4 or 4, you're fine. Ta-da! So we're cool. Fractional answers are fine. Okay. Does it get much more complicated? I mean, you understand the basic game. So now they're just going to make things uglier. But you understand the game now. So it's 208. Easy, 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 easy. Yeah, 220. We'll jump to 220. M over m plus 5 equals 50 over m squared minus 25 plus 6. Okay. I need to factor that, and I need that to be a fraction. So let me just throw that over 1. And this factors, difference of squares, m plus 5, m minus 5. Okay, so this guy right here, oh, I guess domain. I always forget domain. Domain. Make sure m is not negative 5 or positive 5. Negative 5, positive 5. Any other number is cool, but if we get an answer that's negative 5 or 5, just throw it away. Okay, so this first term, there's an m plus 5 downstairs. Oh, so the lowest common denominator is going to be m plus 5 times m minus 5. Hopefully you see that. So this guy needs an m minus 5, m minus 5, m minus 5. This guy has the correct bottom, so it's fine. This guy needs an m plus 5 times m minus 5. So put m plus 5, m minus 5. Okay, same. Bottom's all the same. Yep, fun part. What's left over? M times m minus 5 equals 50 plus 6, m plus 5, m minus 5. Okay, so distribute m squared minus 5m equals 50 plus. Now, wouldn't it be easier to multiply those two first? 6 times, isn't that just conjugates? M squared minus 25? Yeah, of course it is. That's how we factored it. Okay. M squared minus 5m equals 50 plus distribute 6m squared minus 6 quarters is what, $1.50? Okay. Let's see. You folks like bringing everything to the left, or like, you see how there's 6m squared here and m squared here? I'm going to be fancy. I like things positive. So what if I bring everything to the right and set that equal to 0? So, not that it matters. Either way it works. 15 and negative 50 is, what, negative 100? Okay, so if I bring this m squared over, that's going to be 5m squared. And then minus 5m, add 5m to both sides, and the minus 100 equals 0. Okay, so I just brought everything to the right side instead of the left. Same thing, right? And then if you like things on the left, you see how it's equal to 0? Well, couldn't I just say this is equal to 0? Oh, okay. And then now let's try and factor this. Ooh, I should pull out a 5. M squared plus m, minus 20 equals 0. Now let's factor this m thingy. Multiply to 20, negative 20, but a difference of 1. So 5 and 4, positive 5, negative 4. M plus 5, m minus 4 equals 0. So that means, look at this one. That's going to give us an answer of negative 5. And this one gives us an answer of positive 4. And then you say, oh, wait, whoa, the domain. Remember, in the very beginning, we said make sure you don't get an answer of negative 5 or 5. If you do, throw it away. Oh, negative 5. Cool. Throw it away. So what's my final answer? M equals 4. Aha. Now it's all making sense. Okay. Same. 230. So again, you understand the game. They just try and make things more complicated, not conceptually, just calculations-wise. 2 over x squared plus 2x minus 3 plus 3 over x squared plus 4x plus 3 equals 6 over x squared minus 1. Before I can play the domain game, let me factor these. This one I can do easily. X plus 1, x minus 1. Difference of squares, conjugates. Okay, this one. X, 3, so positive 3 minus 1. Multiply that, add, yep. Okay. X, signs are the same. They're both positive. X plus 3, x plus 1. Okay. Let's see. So when you're looking at these denominators, domain x does not equal 1, negative 3, or positive 1. So 1, negative 1, or negative 3. Did I say negative 3? 1, negative 3, negative 3, negative 1, negative 1, positive 1. So make sure x is not 1, negative 1, or negative 3. If you get any of those answers, just throw them away. Okay, so in terms of common denominator, I see that everyone needs an x plus 1 and an x minus 1 and an x plus 3. So this guy right here needs an x plus 1. X plus 1, so put an x plus 1 here. This guy needs an x minus 1. X minus 1, x minus 1. This guy needs an x plus 3. X plus 3, x plus 3. Same. Bottom's all the same. Bye-bye. What's left over? 2x plus 1 plus 3 x minus 1 equals 6 x plus 3. Okay. And clean it up. 2x plus 2 plus 3x minus 3 equals 6x plus 18. 5x minus 1 equals 6x plus 18. Okay, minus 5x on both sides. Add 18 to both sides, or subtract 18. Is that my answer? X is negative 19. Subtract 5x, Cool. Ta-da! Okay. So we basically understand it. Moving on, how long is this video? We are at 14 minutes. Okay. I'll just keep talking. We're halfway through. We basically understand it. Now that we understand it, they're just making us do some weird things. Let's try 232. They give us a function, f of x equals x plus 1 all over x squared minus 2x minus 3. They asked for the domain. Oh, I know how to find domain. I factor the bottom. X minus 3 plus 1. Double check. Multiply, yes. Add, yes. Okay, so part A, what's the domain? Make sure x is not negative 1 or positive 3. Okay, that was easy. B, solve f of x equals 2. So set this whole mess equal to 2. Okay, so they want x plus 1 over x plus 1, x minus 3. That's the function they want me to, I factored it. They want me to figure out when that is equal to 2. Okay. Oh, so it's like we were doing before. Let me put this over 1. Okay, let's get a common denominator. So this guy needs an x plus 1 and an x minus 3. So x plus 1 and an x minus 3. Bottom's the same. X plus 1 equals 2. X plus 1, x minus 3. Okay, so x plus 1 equals 2 times. Oh, how can I multiply those real easily? Well, we kind of did it backwards. So it's just that. X squared minus 2x minus 3. X plus 1 equals 2x squared minus 4x minus 6. I just distributed that 2 to each one. We're almost there, folks. So this is 2x squared. So that x, bring it over, minus 5x, minus 1, minus 7. What the? Sometimes I feel like I did it wrong. So now, 232, solve for when it's 1. Oh my gosh. They wanted me to solve when it's 1, not 2. I was looking at the wrong problem. Why didn't you folks yell at me? OMGs, OMGs. So this, okay, no big deal. Let's go back in time. Super easy. See what happens when you don't pay attention, folks? I did that on purpose to demonstrate to you. So for part B, we basically said, when does x plus 1 over x plus 1, x minus 3 equal 1? OMGs. Okay. So put it over 1, common denominator of x plus 1, x minus 3, x plus 1, x minus 3. So that's x plus 1. Bottom's the same. X plus 1 equals, multiply this out. We already did that. That's x squared minus 2x minus 3. 0. X squared minus x minus 3x minus 1 minus 4. Factor it. Going to equal 0 on that side, so it looks prettier. X minus 4 plus 1, multiply that, add them that, boom. Get an answer of negative 1 and positive 4. Remember, in the very beginning, domain, we said make sure you don't get an answer of negative 1 or 3. And then right now, we just got an answer of negative 1. So we just throw that answer away. So our answer is just 4. Woohoo! So what did they ask? B, solve that. Okay, so that's part B. And then part C says, find the points on the graph at this function value. Okay, so find the points on the graph at this function value. Oh, so remember, part C, don't overthink these things. We're looking for an xy, right? So when x is 4, the function was equal to, remember they wanted us to figure out when the function is equal to 1. So when x we solved here, is 4, the function was 1. Little weird, I know. It'll make more sense later on, but just see if you can get that answer. It might not make sense, but you should be able to get that answer. We'll just keep going. So the next, they just want us to solve for a letter in the next section. So we'll jump to 236. 236. I over r equals p. And they want us to solve for r. So just put a 1 underneath there, get a common denominator. So r, 1, so this guy needs an r. Okay, bottom's the same. So I is equal to p times r. They want us to get r alone, so let's divide both sides by p. R is alone. We're done. Okay. 240. 240. 240. So we're using the same techniques we were doing before. So the game is the same. basically, m is equal to n over 2 minus n, and they want us to solve for n. Okay, well, let's get a common denominator, 2 minus n. Let's make this a fraction, 1. So we need a 2 minus n here, 2 minus n, 2 minus n. Bottom's the same, yeah. So 2 minus n times m equals n. So distribute that m. Does it look weird having it on that side? You can put it on that side if it's prettier. Is that better? Same side, doesn't matter. 3 times 4 is the same as 4 times 3, right? Commutative property. You can commute, you can move things when you're multiplying. Anyhow, you should be cool with that. So now that's 2m minus mn equals n. Okay, here's where it gets a little tricky. We're trying to solve for n. Well, let's put all the n's on the same side. So this would be a 2m equals mn plus n. Okay, and then let's factor out an n. Okay, leaving us with an m plus 1 equals 2m. Okay, get n alone, so divide both sides by m plus 1. M plus 1 is the letter n alone. Yes, we're done. Okay. I admit, that was a little confusing, but you get the general idea. Let's try another one now that you've seen that confusing one. What was that, 240? 242. 242. 242. 3 over s plus 1 over t equals 2. And they want us to solve for s. Okay. Make it a fraction. I see an s, a t, a 1. So the lowest common denominator is s times t. This guy needs a t. So multiply by t, multiply by t. This guy needs an s, so multiply by s, multiply by s. This guy needs an s and a t, so multiply by a t and an s, multiply by a t and an s. Are the bottoms all the same? Yes. So we have 3t plus 1s equals 2ts. Okay, we're solving for s. Now, last problem was a little weird, but we saw it, so we understand the game. So what we did last time was we said, oh, we need all the s's on the same side. If we're solving for s, let's get all the s's on the same side. So that would be 3t, subtract 1s from both sides. So 2ts minus 1s. You can't just call it an s. Okay, so usually we don't put a 1 if you don't need it. And then we said, well, let's factor out the s. Oh, that's the trick we did last problem. So if you factor out an s, what is left over? A 2t minus 1. And that's equal to 3t. Okay, we're trying to get s completely alone. So let's divide by 2t minus 1. Divide by 2t minus 1. And isn't s alone? Yeah, well then that means we're done. Aha. So you see, it's the same sort of tricks over and over again. One more, fine. You'll see the same trick over and over again. So 250. And then we'll pause the video. 250. C is equal to 2 over A plus B over 5. We're solving for the letter A. Okay. Put a 1 underneath here. Common denominator would be 5A. So this one needs a 5A. This one needs a 5. This one needs an A. 5A, 5A, 5A. Pew. C times 5A is 5C, 5AC. Right? 5C times 5 times A, 5AC. It looks prettier. Equals 10 plus AB. Oh, alphabetical order? Yeah, it looks prettier. We're solving for the letter A. I see A is here, A is here. We need them all on the same side. Okay, let me bring these over. 5AC, if I bring that over, subtract AB is equal to 10. And then we do that trick that we've done on the last two problems. We're trying to solve for A. So I see an A here, so we factor out the A, leaving me with a 5C minus B equal to 10. And then that same trick, we're trying to get A alone, so divide by this mess. 5C minus B, 5C minus B. Pew, is A alone? Yes, that means we're done. Okay. Ta-da! Okay, and then we're moving on to what, 7.5 after this? Yay!